theme park regrets. We've been enthusiasts and been around or fans for many years now. We've gone on trips and we've had many occurrences that come up where it's like, oh man, I really regret that I didn't get on this ride or we didn't go to this park or any other kind of stuff. So we're going to share some of those stories. But first, I do want to share, we got a lot of listener responses we posted on our Instagram. Make sure you follow us, Coaster Cuzzies, where we post questions and you can interact with the show that way, and our Discord as well. And I do want to share some of their responses. Chef Jeff came in and he said, taking things too seriously. Parks are about the fun memories made along the way and the people you do them with. So Chef Jeff, good friend of ours, especially our early trips theme park stud. It was, we really hit the parks hard and we studied everything we were going to do. And when we say we, I do mean me for the most part. But we always had a game plan and like boom, 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 back to back. Didn't leave a lot of opportunity to explore parks.
So yeah, we were very like,
it's a business trip.
How can we get more in? And even during it, it's like, hey, if we leave at this time, we could drive here and do this. And, we need to get to this park at this time because it won't be worth it. Or maybe we get here then and get like an afternoon pass or something like that. So it wasn't as, it wasn't relaxing at all. It definitely was an exhausting trip, but a lot of fun, so much fun, but definitely not relaxing.
So that was a great point. I think especially as we're getting older, coming out of our 20s when we started this and, in our 30s, kind of looking back, it's like, no, parks should be more relaxing than
or like close every day. We get into a place, stay the night, and then next day we go, and then we stay a night, then we have a day for travel or something like that, or like, maybe then you see the city at the other place or where we're going to next versus trying to like, all right, park it all day, travel all night, park it all, like sleep for 3 hours.
No sleeping. And I do see there's a lot of our followers that's their style and good on you. Like I wish I had that energy, but I definitely have some regrets with how we've handled some past trips. All right, moving on. Perry said skipping a trip to Silver Dollar City in college because he wasn't an enthusiast yet and thought it would be an arcade like Nickel World. So he literally thought Silver Dollar City was just an arcade and not a world-class theme park. COF Coasters said not riding Nickelodeon's Flying Super Saturator. I'm trying to think what park that's in. I think that was like Carowinds.
I do not know.
Or one of the Paramount parks that had Nickelodeon. But that used to be a ride where it was on a single rail and you could splash people below you. You literally had like a jug of water and a button that you could drop like gallons of water on people that aren't paying attention and they could shoot back at you with guns. So that was like a fun phase in like the 2000s. And then Speed the Ride in Las Vegas, which a lot of people say was the best Las Vegas coaster to ever operate. And Tony said that his biggest regret as an enthusiast was letting his health and well-being go to the wayside so he doesn't fit on some rides anymore, which respect, man. That can be like an eye-opener for a lot of people. It's like, oh, man, I used to fit in this so well, and now it's the lap bar is getting a little tighter.
Yep.
And there's a lot of regrets that can come out of that. So thanks for sharing that.
Especially if you have your hopes up, you want to ride that one ride and then that's what does it. It's just heartbreaking.
That's it from our Discord. We'll share a few from Instagram here in a little bit, but do you have any theme park stud that you want to bring up?
It kind of goes back to the first trip, and I think you're going to bring up one that's kind of similar and stuff, but we kind of, Chef Jeff kind of mentioned it, but like just spending more time in those parks and stuff, we really just kind of hit all the coasters once and then kind of moved on to the next. I think the only one we did kind of stay in was Kennywood, and even then I think we only rode Phantom's Revenge one more time, and then maybe Skyrocket. Skyrush.
Yeah, I think we did get two in Skyrocket for some reason.
Yeah, because it just opened that year. I think that's why we did that one twice. So then we did Phantom's Revenge one more time. I kind of wish we just did more of the flat rides again. all that kind of stuff. Just kind of spent more time at that part. And also like I kind of wish I kind of wish we spent more time playing Fascination. Like that was just
Yeah.
so much fun and stuff. So uh next time we go to a park and it has that, we're definitely gonna block some time away just to sit there and play that.
Dude, like next time or the first time you go to Knoebels and like the next time I go to Knoebels, I love that place. Like I almost want to spend a whole day there and just really soak it in
Yeah.
and just stroll and play Fascination and sit on a bench and watch people for a while. And like that's more, those days are more memorable to me than like the fast ones that we did. So
Yeah.
actually, one of mine that I wanted to share was actually the same day. We talk about that Kennywood day. I think every about fourth episode we bring up probably the biggest fight you and I have ever been in. When we were at Kennywood, we got all the
I
credits.
knew
I
that
wanted
was
to
going
go
to
to
come up.
Waldemere. You want to stay at Kennywood. And if I could go back, I just wish we would have fully committed to either,
Yeah.
because we were so angry at each other, and like, oh, it was so funny. But like
It
I wanted to go
was.
either way. Like if we would have just stayed at Kennywood and not been like bitter towards each other and just rode more rides, or went to Waldemere and did that thing. But man, just either or. We were just in this weird middle place where we ended up not getting to enjoy Kennywood as much, and then we
Yeah.
never went to Waldemere.
Yeah. It was I agree with you. Yeah, either committee one way or the other would have been a lot more enjoyable. Because yeah, even though like I said, we only rode like Skyrocket and Adam's Revenge one more time, and then we kind of left. So it kind of was like,
We
yeah, at that
literally could
point
have
it
just went
was,
ahead and done it
yeah,
at
and
Waldemere.
at that point it would have been too late when we did actually leave. But yeah, either we should have gone or yeah, just and really spent the time enjoy. But I think it was just we were just all it was like not our last day of the trip, but it was definitely like towards the middle of the trip. So I think we were gonna get a little cranky, a little tired with
Mm-hmm.
each other. And yeah, it was funny.
So I think one thing we learned about that is just like to communicate possibilities beforehand
Yeah.
and what our expectations in the group are going to be. Is this going to be more of a chill day, or are we going to try to go credit whoring?
Yeah.
But we've also made some park audibles in the past that like paid off. So
Yeah. One comes to mind is when we were at Cedar Point and we left early and went to Keenes Island and got some night rides on Mystic
Timbers.
Mystic Timbers. I don't know why I just had a brain fart right there.
It happens.
And then and the Beast, which was fantastic. That was a great audible.
Yep.
People would be shocked. Like you left Cedar Point and went to Keenes Island, just to spend
Mm-hmm.
time there. But it was definitely the move to make.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more I do want to bring up while we're on Waldemere. I feel like never like because we've been to Waldemere once together.
Yes.
I really wanted to stick around in that park longer, and I didn't realize until I left that like, man, Ravine Flyer 2 was so good that I wish we would have actually like rerode that like almost White Lightning style like we did back in our Florida days together.
I mean, that's one that kind of goes off what my first one I mentioned was just like spending more time in the parks, like, and just really rewriting some rides,
Yeah.
even, and we don't have to rewrite all the rides, but like ones that, we thought were interesting and stuff. Let's get another ride on it because, getting the credit's fantastic, but once you ride it once and then you ride it again, it always feels like it's a different ride the second time because like you were just so excited about it, your adrenaline's going. The second time you could actually kind of like see what's going on, kind of like, oh, this happened, but then, oh, this feels different this time, and maybe even ride in a different car, front, back, whatever, and kind of go from there.
Wonderful.
So,
All right. Let's make that pact to each other in our next coaster trip, I guess.
yeah,
We're learning about each other. This is fun. All right, going back to Instagram, we got a lot of responses, so I want to get some of those in. Coaster Angela sent in like 3 of them. She said, "Not riding dragons challenge," which I don't know if that's on your list. If you're going to have some coasters that it's like, I didn't get to ride it before it went away forever, but I know I definitely have a few coming up. She also said, "Never going to Hollywood Nights," which is like the coaster enthusiast block party
yeah,
of wooden roller coasters. I will admit, when I was like at home watching Hollywood Nights and seeing all the people that were there, I was like, oh yeah, that looks like a good time. Like I wish I could be there right now. And then another funny thing that she brought up was doing a face reveal as a woman in the coaster enthusiast world, which uh, I'm sure she got a lot of DMs when she revealed her face, and the creepy little coaster nerds were all
Having
about
fun.
it. So, Smile Bullet also said not getting more than one ride on mini coasters, so not going back and re-riding, kind of like we were talking about.
Yep. I can see that
Um,
being a common one for a lot of people.
yeah, for sure. What are some rides that you were like, man, I wish I would have re-rode? Give it a second chance.
I would like to like some of the big ones like New Texas Giant, like
Mhm.
riding that a second time. Um Trying to think of some other ones just off the top of my head.
For me, I've got like Ravine Flyer 2. Steel Vengeance is honestly on
Yeah, I
there.
was literally gonna say that. I was like, I kind of want to ride it again, just cause like,
Just
and
like not in the back seat.
yeah, and I'm sure we'll get out to Cedar Point again one day.
We
Probably not
always
anytime
end up
soon.
there.
Yeah, it's just it's in the middle of the map, kind of. So,
So many
uh,
trips just go through Cedar Point.
yeah, I can't really think of like actual rides, but I want to go back to those parks, like Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Kings
Yeah.
Dominion, since it's right there. Kind of hit those again just to ride those ones over and again. I mean, there's nothing that I'm like, oh, I gotta go ride that again right now,
Yeah.
but just to experience it again, I think would be fun.
Let's see. Coaster or Comic Coaster Sig said, I start noticing things like rattles and stuff, and it overcomplicates riding a coaster. So I think what they're saying is just like being an enthusiast in general and just overthinking, um, and just having that regret and just like not being able to just enjoy a roller coaster for what it is without thinking about what elements you're going through, how much rattle is in it, where does this rank in my coaster rankings, I think is what they're
Yeah,
trying to say there.
interesting. Just yeah, really just enjoy the moment instead of yeah, just make it overcomplicated.
Yeah, I think so. One that I put on my list is definitely Worlds of Fun. Growing up in Kansas City and being afraid of roller coasters before like iconic Kansas City rides left. So I did ride Zambezi Zinger once as a kid, but I didn't get to ride it when I was older. So it's hard for me to like have a good opinion on it, especially when it scared the living shit out of me when I was like 6. And I never got to ride Orient Express.
I was
So
gonna ask you if you have or not. Yeah, so I that's a coaster you will never have, and I have. So, I actually one of my earliest memories was riding Orient Express, and they stopped us on the lift or something. I think it just shut down, and my grandpa was just like on there and just yelling like help, and he was just joking the whole time. So like the ride hoppers came up there and like they were like, hey, everything's fine. They're just talking to us, and we'll probably get started pretty soon. And then like they would like walk up a couple of cars to talk to someone else, and he would just be like help. Help, and they're like, sir, are you
help.
okay? Yeah, and he was just trolling them the whole time. It was hilarious. So now, as a kid, that thing was a headbanger. Like, oh, just my head
Mhm.
would just get knocked back and forth. But yeah, it'd been fun to ride it as an adult. But I think it kind of got that experience a little bit riding Vortex when we went to Kings Island. So
Yeah,
when it
just kicked
was,
your ass.
yeah, so that's kind of how Orient Express was. Especially when I was a kid, like it felt like I was just getting knocked back and forth.
And like Kansas Cityans talk about it like it was one of the best rides of all time. And I know it was rough, but I can't prove it, you know?
Yeah.
And that was actually Zach Zonstroff's answer, was not getting on Orient Express. He's a Kansas City guy as well. Just
Hmm.
not being able to go, which is a bummer. Alton Andrews said not joining the roller coaster club sooner. So I guess he joined a little bit later in his coaster enthusiasm. All right. So Logan from Prairie Coasting, pretty sure he just like, it was 3 a.m. and he just decided to just destroy our DMs with ideas. So I'm just going to read a bunch of them. And thank you, Logan, for doing this. It's one of my favorite things he does. He's up
Blowing
late
up
at
those
night,
DMs.
blowing up our DMs. Um, Going to Shamu's Playground at SeaWorld Orlando back in November of 2006 and spraining his wrist on day 2 of a 14-day long Florida vacation.
Oh no.
That that is a terrible thing to just be like having to go to like the hospital or something and having to take care of that and then just like going to Disney World. Oh man. And then he also said dipping his toes into a hobby that he can't actively participate in because he lives in the middle of a prairie in Canada and can't really travel to parks. So that stinks. So those were a few of his answers. And then we also had Airtime Mike, who said riding a 4D free spin, which
Yeah.
you and I have
I regret
not
that
done,
too.
but we've got to do the
Oh,
Zach
not a.
spin.
Okay, yeah, I guess we haven't done the free spin. Yeah,
We've done the Intamin version, and I have to think it's very similar experience.
probably.
Which I would say our buddy Matt, one of his regrets would probably be wearing glasses on one of those and losing his glasses on the top of a fucking roof there.
Having to drive back the next day, an hour drive there
From Disneyland.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt. We love you, dude. It was a bad choice to wear those. Do you have any more? We got a few more here.
One of my regrets, it's not very ride wise, but it's an event that I easily could have gone to and I never did, and I'll never be able to, is the Osborne Lights at Hollywood Studios. I literally could have been there and just checked it out. And
you lived there, dude.
I did when it was like it was like 2 or 3 years before they took it out, and then never went to it. So
yeah, you fucked up.
Yeah,
that's really bad.
Yeah. So man, I regret that.
Sorry to like kick you while you were down there, but what the fuck were you thinking? You know,
I wasn't. I was like, oh, it's just one of those things. Like when you live in a place, like, oh, I could do it another time. I could do it another time. There's always next year. One time there's not next year. Now we're here, okay?
And here we are. That's no joke. My wife chimed in, and she also said only staying a couple hours at Waldameer. She was vibing with that park quite a bit. And then she also said Predator. That's a regret. So riding Predator at Darien Lake, it like fucked up her back, and like she had to be really careful about
she was not.
She was hurting. Yeah. That ride was rough as one of the roughest coasters.
I'd almost say like one of my regrets is just going to Darien Lake.
See, I want to give Darien Lake a second chance.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. There was some rides that were okay. Nothing that cracked any kind of top 10 list for me at all. But
here's my regrets. I'm going to give you some of mine from Darien Lake on that day. Is one was not eating the wings at Anchor Bar. Should have just done it. And then the second one was not playing Fascination while we were there.
Wait, what?
They have a Fascination parlor, and we didn't play. We missed it somehow.
Okay, yeah, I regret that too. I don't know how I didn't.
I also didn't know about it.
Okay, so I was like, we didn't know about it, or we just decided not to. I don't remember. Like,
we didn't know about it somehow.
Damn, nah. I'm sad now.
So it's like, yeah, we got to give that another chance. And then we got a few more answers to round out the Instagram. Not getting fast lane for my first Cedar Point visit. That's probably pretty true. Especially if you only, because your first day at Cedar Point, there's no such thing as a relaxing first day there.
Oh, first time I ever went, it was a year Top the Dragster open. This is before I was really like into roller coasters and stuff, but it was a Saturday in the middle of summer and it was insane. I remember my first ride, it was Raptor, and we waited like 2 hours for that ride. And then I waited 3 hours for Top the Dragster. Like the whole queue, all that queue that's in the middle of that was filled up. Like it was hot as hell. I was with my cousins from Michigan and stuff. Like it was a lot of fun, but it was those long ass lines. So I think I rode Top the Dragster, Raptor, and Millennium Force. And I think I did Gemini.
That makes sense. Like maybe after.
And Wildcat when I was still there. And Iron Dragon. I think those were the one. I think that's all I got on because the lines were so long. And honestly, that's actually pretty decent for how long those lines were. So
no joke.
Yeah.
No,
Especially driving all the way down from Michigan and driving all the back in the same day. We were
oh,
so tired. Yeah.
that sounds so exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
But it was fun.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about Cedar Point is that first day, if you're there for the first time and you're trying to ride everything, there's no slowing down. Like you just have tunnel vision. So I can understand, like especially, I think your first visit, in order to actually properly do Cedar Point, you spend 2 or 3 days there and kind of soak it in, if that's your thing. I don't
Yeah.
recommend it, but I mean that's kind of how you have to do it. So if you don't have a fast pass and you're cutting short time, I could see regretting that pretty quickly.
Definitely.
And then the last one here is from Going Out in Style 89, said being to Cedar Point 3 times and Kings Island 0 times. Which, yeah, you should definitely go to Kings
right
Island.
there.
And a nighttime at Kings Island is one of the most underrated things of all time.
Yeah, I would always suggest like do 2 days at Cedar Point. First day, kind of, try and knock out as much as you can. And then the second day, hit up things you don't and maybe get a few re-rides on some things you want to do. Leave, midday and make your way down to Kings Island and get in there in the evening time, get some night rides on some rides, and then come back the next day and finish up everything else.
Yeah.
I think that's the move if it's your first time or even second time going to those parks.
I would say that even like the day you leave Cedar Point is almost always, especially if you have the season pass, like just use the middle of the day to drive to Kings Island and enjoy the night there.
Yeah.
It's such a good move. It recharges you and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like what, like a 3-hour drive, if
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Where you can just sit down in air conditioning and just be ready to
It's
go.
not bad at all.
It ain't bad, man.
It ain't bad.
Let's see. Did you have any more? I have one more.
Yeah, you share yours. I might have one. I was like trying to think of some.
So one of my biggest regrets is not doing Epcot before the quarantine. So you went down there for drinking around the world and to get like a park in, and what was it, February 2020?
Yeah.
Well timed, man. If I could go back, like I think we were just kind of short on money and couldn't afford it, but like should have just choked the money up. It would have been fine and got in a theme park before mass shutdown. Would have been great. It's like the one time you've been to Florida when I wasn't there that I actually was like, fuck, came back. Should have went that one time. And that was just like a long weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just it was Super Bowl weekend. It was almost a year ago. Actually, it would have been a year ago today. I think I was at Epcot today, and then yeah, because the Super Bowl was like a week earlier last year. It arrived on this weekend and stuff. Because I flew back that Sunday, and that night was when I landed was when the Super Bowl started. So
nice,
yeah,
man.
It was a fun weekend. Yeah, you would have enjoyed it. It was a good time.
I know, man.
Yeah,
I love Epcot. Great.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I think maybe some other ones that I regret is just missing some like parades and some shows at Disney that I just haven't been to, and especially at Disney World where I had an annual pass and could have gone a lot more. I just didn't really take advantage of being there. Like living in Orlando, it's like great, but like once you get there, like, oh, I'll live here forever. I'll have all the time in the world to do that. And every time I went to the parks, I felt like I was kind of always doing the same thing. And so I was like, I don't know any specific parades and things off the top of my head, but like, I know there's some things that I just left on the table. Yeah. And I know I'm not going to go do if I'm just visiting because it's not that important to me. It'd be one of those things I'm just like, oh, if I had a pass and I was just showing up on some afternoon I was bored, that's when I'll knock it out. But not if I have like a plan or if I'm on vacation.
Yeah. That's interesting because there is a lot of things that Disney World has to offer that like you only would do if you were there all the time and just needed to like, oh, I'll just try Tom Sawyer's Island, for instance.
Yeah, that would be cool to try. But I'm not gonna do that if I'm paying, a day ticket and try and knock in, all the big rides and stuff.
That's true.